Thank you for joining us on Newsbeat. Here's a look at our top stories.
The state's attorney is fighting for a new Bill of Rights for crime victims. Find out what voters have to do to make it law.
Plus, major changes on the CTA, what you need to know if you decide to carry a bag with you.
And some exciting moments for NASA. They'll be traveling further into space than ever before. Newsbeat starts right now.
Good morning. Today is October 28th, 2014. I'm Ashley Richardson.
And I'm Charles Jefferson. Welcome to Newsbeat. We have a lot of important updates this Tuesday morning.
Whether or not you've been a victim of a violent crime, chances are you know someone who has.
Since 2008, State's Attorney General Lisa Madigan and her team have been trying to do something about it. Now you can vote on it. Newsbeat's Patty Baskin covered a news conference about the bill, and she's live in the newsroom with more on that and what voters think about it. Patty.
Thank you for joining us on Newsbeat. Here's a look at our top story. Horrific discoveries in Northwest Indiana. 7 women found dead, including this woman linked to one man. We'll have the latest on this developing story.
A new empowerment group is created to help make positive changes in the lives of young people in Chicago neighborhoods. Plus,
it's a mother's fight to save her community after losing her son to gun violence. Newsbeat starts right now.
A family love triangle turns into a horrific, violent act.
New developments in the school shooting in Washington, what officials say prompted a popular kid to turn into a monster. The chilling details next.
Why medical professionals who are helping fight Ebola are upset. Mandatory quarantine has caused another kind of battle.
Many are mourning the loss of a music legend who introduced the fusion of jazz and rock.
And a registered sex offender is dating a star from the reality show Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. You won't believe who was convicted of molesting.
The world mourns the loss of British musician Jack Bruce. The 71-year-old lead vocalist of Cream died Saturday from liver disease. He was best known as the bassist of the band. Some of his hits include Spoonful and his platinum double album, Wheels of Fire.
Renowned fashion designer Oscar de la Renta will be buried next week. The private funeral will be held in New York on November 4th for close friends and family members. The designer died last Monday in his Connecticut home, surrounded by family. Sarah Jessica Parker and Jennifer Lawrence are just a couple of the Hollywood celebrities seen wearing his creations on the red carpet.
TLC gave the boot to hit reality show Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. The series is being canceled after TMZ reported that June Shannon, better known as Mama June, is dating an old boyfriend who is a registered sex offender. Mark McDaniel was convicted of molesting Shannon's daughter Anna, better known as Chickadee, on the show when she was 8 years old. But Shannon says otherwise. She took to her Facebook page to denounce the allegations. TLC announced in a statement on Friday that the canceling the series and supporting the health and welfare of children.
Now this next story is crazy. Imagine receiving 2 lottery tickets as a gift and you hit the big one. The Chicago teen received the best present ever for her 19th birthday, a $4 million check. Desi Ocampo says her father gave her 2 Illinois lottery scratch-off tickets worth about $20 each. One turned out to be the big winner. Ocampo says she plans to use the money to buy her family a house and complete her nursing degree. She was presented with a check last week at the gas station on the city's northwest side.
Someone no one would have expected it to happen. Yesterday at football practice, he was all fine. We were talking, having a good time, and then today, just horrible. I don't know what went through his head or caused him to do it.
Many have said Freiberg was a well-liked student who was named homecoming prince last week. Yet his recent social media posts are telling a different story. His last tweet was, "It won't last, it'll never last." Some evidence indicates this case is not just a random shooting, it's more of a love triangle. The other victim who was fatally shot is 14-year-old Zoe Glasso. Glasso was friends with Freiberg and was dating his cousin Andrew, who also got shot. He's in critical condition. Now, according to their friends, Andrew and Zoe attended homecoming together last week. The students who witnessed the shooting say all the victims are Freiberg's family and friends. They are still fighting for their lives.
I'm the dean of the cathedral, and I hold the rank of archpriest in the Orthodox Church. Being a landmark has its own difficulties because we have to follow a different parameter, a higher standard of just getting in and fixing something. Of course, they want to have, everything back done to the way Louis Sullivan designed it, and that can be exponentially more expensive. And many years ago, we're one of the 5 oldest churches, Orthodox churches, in the lower 48. So we've had a strong connection in the country. Most of the time it has been from a Russian or a Slavic background, and that was essentially from the beginning in 1892 up until perhaps the Second World War. There were essentially Russian or Slavic, Ukrainian kind of people. But now we have many different ethnic groups. We have Greeks, we have Serbians, we have Romanians that are coming in. We have good old Anglo-Saxons, again, that have adopted the faith, and we want to encourage other people seeing us not just as some ethnic church or ethnic entity with a funny cross and ringing bells at all hours of the day and night, but rather that we're a group of caring people, that we want to get to know our neighbors, have our neighbors get to know us. And if they drop a couple of bucks and we're able to help put that to the restoration, that would certainly be helpful.
Thank you for joining us on Newsbeat. Here's a look at our top story: horrific discoveries in Northwest Indiana. 7 women found dead, including this woman linked to one man. We'll have the latest on this developing story.
A new empowerment group is created to help make positive changes in the lives of young people in Chicago neighborhoods. Plus,
it's a mother's fight to save her community after losing her son to gun violence. Newsbeat starts right now. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, October 21st, 2014. I'm Jessica Lang.
And I'm Priscilla Lopez. Welcome to Newsbeat. We have a lot to talk about this Tuesday morning.
Developing news this morning, it started with one murder in Northwest Indiana, but the investigation led to a more horrifying discovery.
Police now think one man may have killed a total of 7 women or more. 35-year-old Enith Jones is one of the victims found dead in an abandoned house in Gary over the weekend. Police say information from a 43-year-old murder suspect led investigators to the bodies of 6 other women. Records show that Darren Dion Van is a convicted sex offender from Austin, Texas. Authorities say Van is being charged in connection with the murder of a 19-year-old woman discovered inside a motel in Hammond. Now the FBI is getting involved to determine if anyone else may have been involved in the murders.
One Evanston Mothers Club means much more than fun and games. It's her way of mourning the loss of her 14-year-old son who was shot and killed in a random act of violence.
The mother says she wants the club to make a positive impact and keep the kids off the streets.
Newsbeat's Kiana Johnson spent 2 days in Evanston at various events. She's live on Michigan Avenue with more on the Dajay Coleman Foundation. Kiana?
Thanks, guys. Tiffany Rice has dedicated this past year to creating programs ranging from family fun nights to discussions on violence. She is doing it to help her son and go forward. It's 7 p.m. on a Friday night. Instead of hanging in the streets, Evanston youth gathered at the Fleetwood Jourdain Center for a family night of skating, dancing, and arts and crafts. Representatives of local organizations were present, raising awareness of services for Evanston youth. It's part of the foundation's biggest events, the 2nd annual Day-Day World Weekend to honor the memory of Dajay Coleman. He was known as a model student and athlete.
I think that the more things that we do like this, where families and kids and parents come together, it builds a stronger community, and I think that's the key to really solving violence in our community.
But the fun didn't stop there. The following day, Dajay's teammates and family squared off against coaches in a basketball tournament at Evanston Township High School, with special performances from Evanston Township Pumpkins and cheerleaders. A local author says the foundation is a good program.
In general, it's a complex issue. It has to do with family, has to do with government, has to do with the kids themselves making the right choices. But if you give them alternatives, it's so important.
It was an emotional day for DeJay's mother as she wiped tears from her eyes, thanking everyone for their support. Rice says interacting with the youth gives her the strength to move forward.
Without this, it would be hard. I would be kind of like debilitated and kind of like maybe disabled and not able to move on with my life and take care of my daughter and take care of my family.
During the year, the DeJay Coleman Foundation provides tutoring programs, summer reading initiatives, and college readiness programs. I'm live on Lake Michigan. Kiana Johnson, back to you guys.
Teachers are out on the picket lines in force, lobbying for higher salary and better health benefits. The strike is keeping 17,000 students out of class. Right now, negotiations are on hold. Teachers are giving the district administration and the Board of Education time to write a new proposal. The school district says it's ready to get back to the table to try and end the strike as quickly as possible.
If you ride the CTA Blue Line, listen up. The Damon stop is now temporarily closed. Construction crews are working to modernize and repair one of the oldest stations in the system. The closure is part of the CTA's 4-year renovations of the O'Hare branch of the Blue Line that began earlier this year. While the station is closed, trains will bypass Damon and transport riders to the next station in either direction.
63 days. That's how long the Damon Blue Line station will be closed. The Damon Stop renovation is part of a $492 million CTA project. It's called Your New Blue. Some of the improvements include restoring the station's structure, installing new bike racks, and adding more turnstiles to improve commuter flow. The CTA says the station opened in 1895. For those of you doing the math, that's 119 years ago, the same year W.E.B. Du Bois became the first African American to get a PhD from Harvard. With that fact, many customers understand the closure is necessary.
You have to sacrifice, but it's going to make it better for everybody that commutes.
During construction, the CTA is encouraging riders to use the nearby Division and Western stops. It also added additional service on the number 56 Milwaukee bus to accommodate more riders. With the changes, customers should allow for extra travel time.
In Division is like 5 blocks there, so I need to wake up earlier for my work.
If all goes according to plan, the Damon station will reopen on December 22nd, which is sure to be a welcomed early Christmas gift for riders. Dancing, singing, and an overall good atmosphere. That's some of what the mood was like at Chicago's first annual We Day celebration.
The movement hopes to inspire young people to make positive changes in their neighborhoods and the world.
That's right, guys. We Day is an annual youth empowerment event organized by the Free the Children charity. It's the first time the event is being held here in Chicago, and given all the violence, organizers want to inject a new dose of hope in the Windy City. When you hear that ambulance wail, and when you see that crime tape, the flashing lights, and more than a couple of cops, then you know it's a telltale sign that something is terribly wrong. But that's anything but the message at We Day, an event that inspires young people to become change agents. The celebration was held at Farragut High School in Little Village, where 700 students from 12 schools packed the auditorium. We Day founder Craig Kilberger kicked things off and served as the MC. He says We Day is about giving back and making the communities young people live in better.
We want them to learn in their school curriculum. We want them to volunteer, to raise awareness, to raise funds, to help serve. We want them to become active local citizens and global citizens.
The event also featured well-known speakers like Kwaku Mandela, Michael Ola, and Dr. Martin Luther King III, who had this message to give to the young people.
Say, be ashamed to die until you've done a little something to make the world in which we all must live a little better than it was when you arrived.
Now, this is the first time that We Day is here in Chicago, and event organizers are hoping to change the world, one young person at a time.
And We Day is just truly a great opportunity to go to. Like, if you get the chance to go to there, it's just amazing, and it really changed me. I really love it there.
That young girl was just one of many kids at We Day who's been volunteering and making a difference. Organizers say We Day can change Chicago and the world.
Help youth take action. Youth can change the world. We're very excited about it. Free the Children is a fabulous organization, and they're going to help our kids change the world.
Now this is just the beginning. The main event will be held at the Allstate Arena in April, and in order to go, students must earn their tickets through community service and charity. It should be a great event. That's it. I'm Charles Jefferson, live on Michigan Avenue. Back to you.
Thanks, Charles.
Speaking of empowerment groups, early voting kicks off before the November 4th election. Right now, registered voters can go to a regional polling place in their area. Early voting is meant to boost voter participation. The voting period will end the Sunday before the election.
Picture yourself on a relaxing cruise throughout the Caribbean. See, sounds like a dream, right? But for thousands of people, the dream turned into a vacation nightmare. We'll tell you why next.
And later, talk about No Excuses, an inspirational story about a young boy who golfs despite his physical challenges. That story and more after the break. The passenger who worked on Ebola patient Thomas Duncan tested negative for the deadly disease. The woman was on a Carnival cruise, which carried roughly 4,000 passengers. It was supposed to go to Mexico, but fear prompted cruise officials to stop it. Despite the passengers' negative results, cruise officials say they will completely clean the ship.
The CDC has told us that because she was never infected, that we didn't have to take any special precautions, but notwithstanding, because we want to give the embarking guests an added level of comfort and confidence, we're doing everything possible to do an aggressive sanitation protocol on the ship. So we're cleaning everything down from the handrails, the doorknobs, to the poker chips in the casino.
On Friday, the cruise rose refused clearance and docked in Cozumel, Mexico. Many passengers say the blood test coming up negative was the highlight of their trip.
America is still helping push ISIS back. The U.S. is increasing the number of airstrikes near Kobani in Syria this week. Last weekend, the U.S. military carried out a total of 15 airstrikes in Syria. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, at least 7 civilians were killed during those attacks, and another 3 were killed by airstrikes targeting oil fields. A U.S. military official says despite its efforts, Kobani could still fall into ISIS hands.
Chicago streets are cleaning up, and you might be dazzled by how it's happening.
How firearms and fine jewelry will help decrease violence in Chicago. You won't want to miss how the city is doing it.
Halloween is upon us, and one of its most well-known characters stars in yet another scary movie. We'll tell you if this flick is worth the price of admission. A New York medical examiner revealed the cause of Joanne Rivers' death. A report stated the comedy legend died from therapeutic complication. It also mentions Rivers' low blood oxygen during a medical procedure, which led to brain damage. Rivers was recently buried in New York last month.
An Ebola costume is stirring up mixed reactions on social media. The costume site, Brands on Sale, is selling an Ebola containment suit. The $80 costume includes a face shield, breathing mask, safety goggles, and blue latex gloves. A dozen costumes have been sold since it went on sale October 8th.
All the Ghostbusters lovers probably missed Dr. Raymond around the Halloween season. Our Newsbeat producer, Maylene Jean, finds out what's happening with Hollywood actor Dan Aykroyd.
I love my community. I don't look back with anything but respect for my fellow actors and writers and directors and producers, and I'm very grateful for the career that I have. Very, very grateful. I have no regrets and no bitterness at all.
He signed autographs for fans for 5 hours straight without any breaks at Hollywood's Palms Theater. Besides the Ghostbusters, Blues Brothers, all the unforgettable comedies in the past, fans are curious about his feature film and hoping to see more of his comedies. He told Maylene that he would like to give more opportunities to younger generations.
Luke Evans stars in a new film, Dracula Untold, hit theaters October 10th. The film combines royalty with the vampire world while exploring where Dracula came from.
Is this fantasy drama worth the price of admission? News reporter Elizabeth DeRue is here to fill us in.
Dracula Untold could have been a comedy, although that's probably not what director Gary Shore was going for.
My father was a great man. A hero, so they say. Sometimes the world doesn't need another hero. Sometimes what it needs is a monster.
You are alive because you can fight! You are alive because of what I did to save you!
Dracula Untold is a fitting name. I left the theater feeling like I wasn't told anything about the monster. All I could think about was the cheesy script and the bad special effects. Dracula Untold was not worth the price of admission. I'm Elizabeth DeLue.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Well, it's been a gloomy and cold start to the fall season this year.
We've got Patty Boskin here with your weather forecast. Patty, are there still a chance of enjoying pumpkin patches in less freezing weather?
Absolutely. Hang in there, Chicago, because there is some sunlight at the end of the tunnel and plenty of time to hunt down that perfect pumpkin. Let's take a look outside. We've got a beautiful live shot of the Buckingham Fountain. Even though it is off for the winter and fall season, it's drizzling outside, but we've got some good news coming up. And today we've got mostly cloudy skies. Our temperatures will be peaking at about 55 degrees today, but that's okay because that's not the worst we've had around this time of year. There will be some lake effect clouds drifting across the lake, and those ones are what's going to be keeping us in the mid-50s today. There are a possibility of some brief showers, but I wouldn't worry because those clouds will be floating away by the end of the day. And for the 5-day forecast, we've got 63 mostly cloudy skies on Wednesday and a low of 40 degrees. Thursday, we've got some showers coming in, so be prepared for that, although we will be at 67 degrees. Friday, we're looking at 68 degrees, mostly cloudy, gray skies, and look at that beautiful weather on Saturday. You definitely want to get out there and enjoy that 72-degree weather. It's going to be great, but Sunday we do come crashing down back into reality with low temperatures, so definitely be prepared for that.
You think I can break out my shorts?
You know, I would advise you not to in case you don't want to get sick like me, but go ahead, do whatever you want.
Thanks, Patty. Thank you.
From rifles and revolvers to dazzling rings, the Cook County Sheriff's Office is teaming up to get guns off the street and back into our homes in a whole new way.
What do you do with hundreds of legal seized guns? The city solutions was meant to do nothing until now. 1,500 guns and ammunition are collected each year in the city of Chicago as gun violence hits record highs. The Boys in Blues are partnering up with Liberty United to turn the tables on criminals and give back to the community. Firearms no longer needed for investigations will be melted down and repurposed into dazzling jewelry. 20 to 25% of proceeds will go to nonprofit groups that fight high crime and violence around the city. Bracelets, rings, and necklaces will range from $35 up to $1,600. Here's what's happening after the break. We have the recap of the Bears' devastating loss to the Miami Dolphins this weekend. Sports reporter Ashley Richardson will have the details after the break. And then,
he's not your average toddler. Find out what's so special about this 3-year-old golfer when we return.
A big weekend in sports, plus a lot to look ahead to this week.
We got hockey and the World Series. We have Newsbeat's Ashley Richardson here to tell us all about what's going on in sports. Ashley, what's going on with the Bears?
Thank you, guys. The Bears had a tough loss to Miami at home. The locker room seems to be a poisonous environment, and players and fans alike are calling for a change. Now let's get right into the game. Cutler had arguably one of his worst performances to date. Early on, the Dolphins take the lead. They seem to be marching down the field with ease. Miami up 14-0. The Bears answer back with a touchdown. Cutler to Forte. The Bears' 2 scoring drives were no matchup for Ryan Tannehill and the Dolphins. Final score 27-14. The Bears are now 3-4. The Blackhawks season is off to a good start. The Hawks take on Nashville at home. Take a look at this. Nicholas Jomerson to Johnny Odiu. ODU scores, Hawks up 1-0. A few minutes later, the Predators score, tying the game up 1-1. Hawks skate by and come up with the win. Final score, 2-1. The Blackhawks take on the Predators again Thursday in Nashville. History is made. Manning passes Brett Favre for the most touchdown passes ever with 509. Peyton Manning proves he's one of the greatest to ever play the game once again. Watch this. Manning passes the ball to Demaryius Thomas. Thomas with the touchdown. Players helped Manning celebrate the milestone by making a video montage congratulating him. Now, real quick, San Francisco takes on Kansas City in Game 1 of the World Series matchup tonight. Next, Archie Manning has stepped down from the College Football Playoff Committee due to health issues. And finally, LA King Slava Voinov has been suspended indefinitely following his domestic violence arrest. Been quite the week for Bears fans everywhere.
Yeah, I heard that they were booing them during a game.
Yeah, fans were outraged. Brandon Marshall was outraged. His locker room speech is epic. You know, he's right. It's unacceptable. We've got to do something.
Well, I'd be mad too. 0-3 at home. That's terrible. Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
At 18 months, little Tommy Morrissey picked up the game of golf, but that's not what makes him so unique.
Tommy was born with a short arm, which he calls Nemo, and this past weekend he participated in a paralong drive competition. Despite his arm, his killer swing inspires everyone he knows. That is so inspirational.
What a cute kid. I hope he does well.
He will.
That's our show for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Lang.
And I'm Priscilla Lopez. We'll see you next time right here on Newsbeat.